Happy New Year. I know it's not January 1st, but the first Sunday of Advent begins a new year in the church's calendar. And is often the case with a civil new year, the church's new year brings talk of new beginnings, reformation, change. On the very first Sunday of Advent, there's no direct talk about the coming birth of Christ. Rather, the focus is on the second coming of Christ at the end of time. For example, in the Gospel of Luke that we just proclaimed, Christ urges his disciples to be vigilant at all times and to pray for strength to stand before God at the last judgment. Not exactly a silent night scene. I hate to add to your to-do list for Christmas, but I will. Because one important aspect of Advent is to look at ourselves and to be honest about where we need to do things differently. Maybe a new effort, maybe issues that we've been putting off over and over again. We need to be vigilant and prepared. Some of this introspection could be personal. What is my prayer life like? Or what bad or negative habits have crept into my life that I really need to change? And the frustrating thing is that when we are honest with ourselves and admit the need to change, we sometimes, maybe even oftentimes, fail to follow through with action and actually make the change. Other parts of my Advent reflection could concern my relationships. Examine how I treat my spouse or my friends or my enemies. What grudges do I continue to carry that do more damage to me than to the person I have the grudge against? Maybe during Advent, I need to be somehow more conscious of the needs of the poor. And actually on that last one, Christmas or an Advent does have a certain amount of success. I was walking through the Commons a couple of days ago, and there was a friend from Spain with me, and he had never seen someone ringing a bell. Now, he said, that would drive me nuts. But we explained that they were collecting money for the poor. Or here at Christ the King, the giving trees are up, and you're invited to take an envelope and help St. Vincent de Paul make Christmas better for families, especially those with young children. The period of time that we call Advent really had a pagan origin. It was borrowed from nature, at least nature in the northern hemisphere. The days of December mark the beginning of the end of the victory of darkness over light. And the pagans would talk about the different gods who were fighting with each other and how eventually the god of light would win out. And while the days continue to grow shorter, we know that December 21 is coming when the sun will begin to be the victor and the days will be longer. Well, the early church borrowed that to talk about a different type of sun, the Son of God, and the fact that he will overcome the darkness of sin. You and I need to name the personal shadows, the personal darkness that has crept into our lives, and to expose them with the light of Christ. We need to use these weeks to bring about the light of patience, understanding, forgiveness, and charity. Recently, I came upon a short song written by a Scottish composer by the name of John Bell. Perhaps it's something that we can sing to ourselves during the Advent season. It only has 3 lines. O take me as I am, but summon out what I shall be. Set your seal upon my heart and live in me.